Okay, so it's 4 o'clock, so we are ready to start our hangout. My name is Eleftheria Tsoulidaki. I will be the tutor for today, and I also my colleague Yue Chao is here. She will be monitoring this hangout. She will be looking at questions that you have, so we can do Q&A sessions. Yue, if you want to say a few words before we start.
Hi everyone, I'm Yue at IMC AG in Germany. I'm happy to see you here and to have you join Eleftheria session. I just have a small tip for you all. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A button and to ask questions, and I will take a look at them and I will pass the questions to Eleftheria and she will answer your questions. And also in the questions, if you have similar questions, you can see that panel and you can just do the +1 and then I know how many people I want to answer the same ask the same questions. So I enjoy you have fun to this session. I will switch back to Eleftheria.
Okay, so Yue, will you share my screen with everybody?
So as Eleftheria is switch the screen, and I want to say one thing is, hi Daniela, I saw your question. You are asking that is it possible to share your desktop during the meeting? And I would say we may see if we have time at the end of the session, we may ask. Otherwise, we'll organize another session to deal with your specific questions. So Eleftheria, I give it to you.
Okay, can everybody see my screen? Are we, Yue, are you sharing my screen?
No, I can't.
I have to do it? It won't give me an option here. Ah, there it is, okay. So let's give it a start.
It could take a little second.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
so,
now it comes.
Okay. So this hangout is just a quick going through the whole of the GoLab contest and what you're expected to do. So in the hangout, what we're going to do, I'm going to give you a short introduction for the contest. We're going to go through the basic components of GoLab. I'm going to show you the GoLab repository. We will discuss an example presentation. We will see how this activity was created. And then I'm going to show you a little bit how we can make it in using the GoLab authoring environment, and we will close the session with a few words about what you need to do to prepare your entry. Daniela says she can't hear the audio. Yue, I'm not sure what.
Yeah, actually, I didn't want to disturb you. I'm writing her in the events, also in the Google event part, and maybe she could check her settings of the device of the video setting. So by the way, we have the event page in the Google Plus as you received the email yesterday. And there you can also check if I see something related to technical, I will also reply that right away there, and in order not to influence other people's taking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So an introduction to the contest. In a nutshell, if I could put it in one sentence, is show us how you used GoLab in your classroom. What did you do with GoLab in your classroom along with your students? So this involves three things, basically. One is to select the GoLab activity and implement it in your class. While you're implementing it, to record it, So you can have an insight into the students' results, so that you can then collect all this material and create a presentation. So the presentation that you're asked to submit to the contest is an overall presentation of how you implemented a GoLab activity in your classroom. So I'm going to show you a few things about that. When I'm talking about a GoLab activity, you don't necessarily have to start and create an activity from scratch. You can go to the GoLab repository and use an existing activity as it is. You can select an activity that exists and adapt it and use it like that. Or if you're up for it, you can, of course, create your own activity from scratch. And I suppose it goes without saying, you probably already know this. The deeper you go, the more points you get. So you will get 1 point if you use an existing activity. You will get 3 points if you take an existing one and adapt it, and you will get 5 points if you create your own one. So the deeper you go, the more points you get, so the better chances you have to work. Yue, there's a lot of background noise, I think, coming from you. Could you mute your phone, your
Sure,
mic?
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Any questions so far about the contest itself? Is there something that it's not clear from the website, something you would like to ask? I don't see any questions in the Q&A section, so I will continue. And if you have anything later on, you can let me know in the second part. So about GoLab. In GoLab, we have 3 basic components, I would say, three structures that constitute GoLab. The first one is called GoLabs. It's the GoLab repository. In there, you can find a big selection of online labs. You can find a lot of applications, supportive applications, and you can also find the GoLab activities. So this is the online repository that you can visit to have access to all the materials that are produced from GoLab. The second component is the GoLab authoring environment. It's the place where you can go in and build activities for your class. You can build GoLab activities, and in GoLab the authoring environment that we are using is called Grasp. The third component, which you are pretty much all familiar with, is the tutoring platform. This is our teacher support mechanism. You can contact us through the tutoring platform to ask questions. We can organize hangouts like this one regarding anything that has to do with GoLab, training for Grasp, about the repository, whatever a teacher might need. So we're going to start with GoLabs, which is the GoLab repository. In GoLabs, you can find 3 things again. You can find online labs. You can find inquiry learning spaces. This is how we called activities in GoLab. The activities of GoLab are called inquiry learning spaces, or ILSs, as you might hear me call them, and some supporting applications. So let's go to the repository straight away, and I will show you there. The link for the repository is down on the right. So this right here is the GoLab repository. As you can see here, there are many tabs. The 3 components that I told you about are these 3 first tabs: online labs, applications, and inquiry spaces. Online labs are the very heart of GoLab. This is what we build our activities around. And we've got different types. We can have remote labs, which are labs that we use real-time through a web camera. We have, for example, the Fox telescopes, which is a pair of robotic telescopes we can use online. There are some simulations or virtual labs that you can use with your students, like, for example, the PhET simulations. And we also have datasets. Datasets are big set of experimental data that have been taken from real experimentations, and they are adapted so as to make them useful for students. So you can go on and select any lab from Go Labs to build an activity around it. I will click on one to show you an example. So, for example, this one is balancing chemical equations. This is the preview page of the lab, where you can see all the information available. And if you click this button here, you go directly to the lab. If you, instead of that, click on this Create Inquiry space, you're automatically redirected to the GoLab authoring environment, where you can start building your activity around the lab. So, like I said, here is the entire list of labs that you can browse through. Next to our collection of online labs, we also have a collection of supportive applications. The supportive applications are under a section called apps, and what they are, they're basically some tools that allow the teacher to monitor the students and also to give the students the tools to better follow inquiry. So, for example, we have applications that help students to build hypotheses, concrete hypotheses, make concept maps in an activity. We can give the tools to a teacher to prepare quizzes to put inside the activity. We have many different applications that you can browse through. They're all generic tools that help you with the inquiry. You can integrate them into your activity so as to enhance it. I will show you an example of that in a little while. The last component, which for the contest is also probably the most important, are the GoLab activities. So these whole set of activities are at your disposal. You can choose any of these and use them as they are in your classroom in order to participate in the contest. By the way, you will also find this very special inquiry learning space in our platform, which is called GoLab Tutorial. And if you click on it, there is a set of videos that will guide you through everything, how to build an activity, how to use GoLabs, how to use Grasp. There is a nice set of supportive videos for you to have a look and get a better understanding of our tools. I'm going to show you an example activity. Like this one, for example, I have used with my students 2 or 3 times already. I'm going to select an activity which is called Craters on Our Earth and Other Planets. Let me find it here. So I'm going to choose this one activity. This is the preview page where I can see all the information relative to the activity. And if I click on this button here, I'm directed to the actual activity. This is the ILS that I told you about. This is what the student will be looking at while you're doing the activity. This is pretty much how it looks like. You can add text, you can add videos, you can add hyperlinks, any kind of materials you like, just like in any other authoring environment. And in addition to that, like we said, we have a variety of supportive applications. So this Here, for example, is the concept map where students can build a concept map. They can drag and drop concepts and make their concept map. And they can attach the relationships between these concepts. They can select from a set of lists. So, for example, mass influences volume, for example. So they can select to have concept maps which are stored in the system, and then the teacher has access to all the files that the students have created. Down below, there is also, this is a hypothesis tool where you can drag and drop element to create a hypothesis. This can be stored again in the system, so you can both the teacher and the students can have access to later on. And of course, just like the applications, the lab is also integrated inside the activity. So, like I told you before, when I am in the preview page of a lab, right here, and I click in this create an inquiry space button, it automatically integrates the lab in the activity I want to make. So you have it there to begin with. Of course, you can add more labs or change labs as you go along if you want. So this is what an activity looks like. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how I created that. It's fairly easy to do. I know there is a lot of information coming in right now. I might also be talking a little bit too fast, so it won't be a 5-hour session or so. But of course, the video is being recorded, so you'll be able to go back again and have a closer look whenever you like. So this is what an activity looks like. Regarding the applications that I told you about, besides the two that I already showed you, we have a bunch of others you can go through. If you have any activities that you want, any applications that you are interested in to talk about, or if you're having problems using them, you can of course contact them, and we'll give you a brief tutorial on them, how to incorporate them in your activity. But other than that, aside from how this specific tool works, the idea behind the activities is really not that far from what you guys have already been doing in your class. A GoLab activity is following the inquiry-based science education approach. So there is an inquiry cycle with 5 steps. What you can do, you may have also seen this in the website. I will show you where it is. What you can do, if you are interested in taking this activity, for example, and use it as it is, or take it, adapt it, and use the adapted one, all you have to do is to copy the activity. Like when you go to the preview page of the activity, you can click on this button here, copy this inquiry space. You can copy it to your own account, and you can use it directly or adapt it. If you want to create an activity from scratch on your own, the best way to go is first to make, let's say, a blueprint out of it. So you can start creating your activity in a Word file, for example, and then you can go on and start adding the materials into the authoring environment, which I will show you in a little bit. So if I was a teacher that I wanted to participate in the contest, and I want to get as many points as possible, and I have decided to create my own activity, this is how I would start. Let's go to the side of the contest. So in the contest website, in the contest materials, we have this inquiry learning spaces tab, which gives you all the information. So what I would do if I wanted to create my own activity, I would select the lab I want to use. Of course, it's quite better for you to start creating something based on the materials you already have for your class. You don't have to create something from the very scratch. It can as well be an activity you had already done in the past. You already have some material to start building that activity. So what I would do, I would download the GoLab inquiry cycle template from here, and I would start working my activity in this Word file to create a blueprint. So this is what my activity would look like once I had finished my blueprint. In this template, you will see that there are sections for each inquiry phase. In GoLab, the inquiry cycle we are using is a 5-step inquiry. First is orientation over here. Then we've got conceptualization. Then we move on to investigation, which is right here. Then we've got conclusion over here, and in the end we've got discussion. Each of the inquiry phases, not all of them, but some of them have subphases. So for example, discussion has communication and reflection. You can choose to do either one of the two subphases or both of the subphases. It's quite okay. You will also see some more details once you download the template. In investigation, for example, you can have exploration or experimentation or both, like we have here, and data interpretation. These are the 3 phases. So what I would do to get started with my activity is that I would take my template and start filling in one by one the phases. So in the orientation, for example, if I wanted to create an activity that had to do with comets and asteroids, I would put a very brief introduction to provoke students' curiosity. I would add a video. There may be a link to something that is related to their everyday life or something that they have heard of, like this matter that was all over the news quite a while ago. And in each phase, I keep here the part that I want my student to see. So this is everything that I want my students to be looking at. And this is the part that I only want the teacher to see. So myself, or if I choose to share it with others, what I want other teachers to see. In order to do it as neat as possible and as quick as possible, whatever link I want to have, like this video here, I keep the URL here in a comment, so I can find them very easily when I'm moving from this blueprint to the authoring environment. I also do the same thing with files. So if I had a PDF I wanted to add here, I would put the name of the PDF so I know where I have to add it. Likewise, wherever I want to add an application or the lab, I simply add it with capital red letters here. So when the time comes to go from the blueprint to the authoring environment, I know exactly where I want to put each application and each lab. One tip to make your activity as effective as possible is to keep rich notes for the teacher. Not just notes, but also some resources like example concept maps, maybe some answer keys, some spreadsheets for the students. The more the better. The more guidance you give to the teacher, the better it is. And it would also be wise if you didn't put too much text for the students to read. You all know that students hate to read long text, so the shorter the phases are, the better for the students. So I would create my blueprint like that, and once I have all my footage stored in an envelope, like I have it here, I have my blueprint and I have a few resources that I want to show to add to my activity, and also some images. Once I have that, I am now ready to go to the GRASP authoring environment and start working there.
Hello, Alexandria, just a short stop. And hello, Rob. I see you also join you, and welcome that Rob is the expert in the human-computer interaction and the usability. And welcome, Rob, to us. Hi, Rob. And please. Yes, very well. So we are just doing some talk now with the teachers already. So I just want to introduce you. And in addition, and I saw one question from Claudia Matanti. She is a teacher in Italy, and she's asking about something related to Java with biology lab. I think this question currently we are not really related to this context, but we will come back to you and maybe in and so on.
The thing is that Java has a lot of problems with many browsers in terms of security. It's a universal problem for all Java related applications. If you go back to the GAPI's preview page, you may see at the bottom. I will share. Can you please share my screen again? And Rob, would you mind muting your mic because there's a lot of background noise?
Ah, yeah.
So, Yue, would you mind? No, I have to do it. I'm sorry. So, okay, here. So, if I go to the GAPIs, I will search to find it. So I suppose, Claudia, you're talking about this virtual lab. This is a Java application, so it does have the problems that you're mentioning it. So right here in the technical requirements, we have kept some guidelines as to what you have to do in order to enable Java on your computer. This is not a problem that we can handle through GoLabs. It's something that has to do with every single computer and the browsers that are used and the security settings that each browser has. So you're going to have to check your browser's security and try to add an exception for this specific Java application so it can run in your computer or to the computers at your school. Have a look at the technical requirements, and if you still have problems, you can email us and we can maybe give you further guidance. Are there any more questions about the ILS, the Inquiry Learning Space that I showed you, or how to create a blueprint? I know again that this is too much information coming very, very fast, so you might want to recheck the video after we're finished. But are there any other questions at this moment? Hello, Vigo as well, and Tony.
No, I think I will get a lot of hellos from different areas, from Spain, from Italy, and so hello to everybody. And yeah, Alexandria, it's your floor.
Okay, so far we talked a little bit about the context. We went through the GoLab repository and browsed through the different sections that are there and what you can use. We saw an example activity, and I also showed you a little bit how to create a blueprint. So we're now going to go and have a look at the GRASP authoring environment. This is the GoLab authoring environment. I'm going to give you a quick tour for that. So one thing
your screen sharing is done.
No, now I want to share.
Okay, great.
Okay. So GRASP, like we said before, is the name of our GoLab authoring environment. This is the link down here. You're going to have to make an account there in order to be able to create it. So what we saw so far was the ILS, the Inquiry Learning Space. And if you remember, what it included was students' guidelines, whatever guidelines I wanted to give my students. Of course, there was an online lab. You may choose to have more than one online lab if you want, of course. And there were also some supportive apps like the concept map that I showed you, or the hypothesis tool, or maybe any other of the applications that you want. And let me say again, if you're interested in an application and you're not sure about how it works, you can ask us to do a little tutorial for that, and we'll be right on it. So these three purple here is these three components are what constitutes an ILS, an Inquiry Learning Space. This is what the student will see during the class. However, there are also some goodies for the teacher. So when you're looking at this ILS from the GRASP authoring environment, you also have three more components. You have teacher's notes that are not available to the student, of course. You can also have some hidden resources like answer keys and examples, and you also have some monitoring apps. So next to the supportive apps that we have for students, like the ones I mentioned before, there are also some monitoring apps for the teacher. So you can have an application that keeps statistics, how many students logged in, what kind of applications did they use, how much time did they spend in every phase. So you can monitor your class very, very clearly. So what the students see, the ILS, plus these three components that are the extras for the teacher, is what constitutes a lesson plan. So Inquiry Learning Space plus support for the teacher equals lesson plan. The ILS is visible.
Anastasia, may I disturb? Can I see your screen? I'm also interested in it. I just see you and not your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you been doing that this whole time?
For the last 3 minutes. But I also see that we have some new questions, but maybe we can do the QA together later. Okay, I will mute my mic.
So when did you stop looking at my screen? I'm not sure. Okay, so like I was saying, these three purple components here is what constitutes the ILS: students' guidelines, the online lab, and the supportive apps that we have. And you can see this ILS through the standalone view, which is what we showed earlier, what we saw earlier. If you want to, on top of the ILS, if you want to see all the goodies that we have for the teacher, you're going to have to go through GRASP. So through the authoring environment, you have access to the ILS, which is what the students see, plus all the supportive services that we have for the teacher. The ILS and the teacher services equals a lesson plan. And this is, again, visible through GRASP. So let me show you how it looks. So for example, we have this activity right here. Let's go to orientation. So this is what the ILS looks like. This is the standalone view. So this is what the student will be looking at. But you, as the creator of this activity, if you go to see it through GRASP, you will see something like that. So you have this big box here, which is the ILS, that is everything that the student sees, and you also have a hidden box here where you can do many different things as a teacher. In this box, you have three types of views. So you have a thumbnail view, which is like that. So you can go and switch around the different components that you have. You can choose to move them, delete them, do whatever you want with them. If you want to see everything as a whole, we have the open view. So this now is what the teacher will be the student is looking at. But in the authoring environment, you also see these big titles here, so you can tell one component from the other, and of course the editing rights. So on top of being able to view the ILS and of course edit it, you also have this box here. Oops, I'm sorry. Not sure what I did there. So in this box here, you've got 5 different options as a teacher. You can add other teachers, so you can collaborate with them. You can allow them to be viewers, editors, or co-owners of the activity. So this is a way of collaborating with the other teachers. A very, very special collaborator for you is going to be Angela. This is a default, let's say, user that if you allow it to be present in your activity, it allows you to monitor your students. So as long as Angela is a member of your activity, you will have monitoring data for your students through the respective apps that we have. If you choose to delete her, you no longer have tracking of your students. So this is one thing that you can do with this in this discussion part. You can leave notes for the teacher. This is something that might change in the future, but even if it changes, it's going to be something very similar to that. So you can copy paste all these notes for the teacher. So for example, in my case, from the blueprint, all this text that I have here, which is the notes for the teacher, and I want it to be hidden from the student, I will add it right here. So this part, as you can see here, cannot be viewed by the student. It's just for the teacher. So all the notes for the teacher can go there. You can also add links here, and you can also hide some resources, and I will show you how to do that in a minute. You can choose to edit the space that you have. You can change the background. You can change the image of the thumbnails. You can, if you have collaborators from this option here, you can see what everybody has been doing in the activity. And from this share button here, you can either go to the standalone view, which is the one I showed you. So if I click here or here, I will be able to view my activity as a standalone view, like we saw before. So as you can see, this is a pretty weird URL. It's kind of a hidden URL. So this is you can use while working on your activity, or if you want to share your activity without having to publish it. If you have completed your activity and it's all good and ready, you can click this button here, publish inquiry space. You will be asked to add some information for your activity, and once you finish that, it will be automatically imported in GoLabs, and it will appear in the repository under section inquiry spaces. So you can work on your activity at your own time, keep it hidden, and once it's finished, you can publish it. And of course, even after you publish it, you can still go back and change whatever you want. So these are the hidden things that we have for the teacher. And let me guide you through a little bit through Grasp in general. So once you click to create an activity, let's see how we do that. I can do it in 2 ways. I can go to GoLabs and select any given activity. I'm sorry, any given lab. So in this case, I want craters. Let me find it. Okay, here it is. Oh, one way to start an activity is to go in the repository, select the lab you want, and click here to say create an inquiry space. This will automatically create a new ILS inside Grasp. I have to give my password again for Grasp here. And once I do that, a new activity is created, and inside the investigation phase, you will find pre-integrated the lab that you had chosen. One way to start creating an activity is this. A second option is if you are in Grasp already and you are in your profile page, you can click this button here, and you can click on Create Inquiry Space. You will have to give a name, and you will create your activity. The difference, of course, here is that since I created like that, there is no pre-integrated lab here. This is a completely empty inquiry space. In any of the two cases, what you're going to see when you enter an ILS for the first time is the 5 basic phases of the GoLab inquiry cycle. So orientation, conceptualization, investigation, conclusion, and discussion. And there are also 2 hidden spaces, which is about and vault. The about section is it's an empty phase, which is it's not public like the other phases. It's private, as you can see here. So this is a space that only the teacher can see. So in here, you can add all kinds of resources that you want to keep hidden, or that you want to you want your students to find as a hyperlink and not directly inside the activity. So the about space is the hidden log for the teacher. In addition to the about phase, we have this vault space. The vault space is a very special place because whatever the students do inside the activity is stored here. So let me show you an example. Last week I used this activity right here. It's in Greek, but it doesn't really matter. So I had a concept map in there, an investigation phase, a concept map, a hypothesis tool. I had an observation tool. So whatever my students created, once they created it, everything was stored directly in the vault. So after, like here, these are all the materials that my students created during the activity. So after we finished, I had access to all the materials that they used through the vault without spending time to ask them to store stuff, to save the files, to send them to me, or to add them somewhere. All these files are created automatically through the system as soon as the student uses the respective application. So these are the 2 hidden phases I have. And of course, let's say I'm not happy with the names of the phases, or if I want to add an extra one, I can still do that. So I can choose let's say I've got orientation. I don't like this name, so I will say I can change it into introduction. So you can totally personalize your activity in any way you like, or I can go back and add another space here. So I will take it, I will say secret space. And I called it secret space because I decided that this specific space, I'm not sure, for example, if I want to add it yet, so I can change it from public to private. So let's see what happens. What I did is I changed orientation to introduction, and I added the secret space here. and I have set it to private. So if I click to see what I have done so far, you will see a completely empty ILS, which here has, instead of orientation, it says introduction. And because the secret space, I made it private, it does not appear here. If I decide I want it, and I switch it back to public, and I go back to my ILS and I refresh, now it's going to appear here. So these are the basics of GRASP. The difference between GRASP and any other editor that you have come across so far, I believe, is that you don't have a single editor where you put everything inside. Instead of having one single editor, we are adding components. So a piece of text is a component, a video is another component, an application is a third component. The reason we are doing this is because this is a very convenient way to be able to track what the students are doing during the activity and get analytics afterwards. So let me show you how you can go from this blueprint that you had to creating this, which is what the students are going to see.
Hi, Alexandria. Just like a small break. I have some questions. Maybe we can deal with some questions, and then we can see what we can start for the next session from the blueprints to the iOS online.
Okay.
So one of the question is which is the best browser to use apps like Concept Mapper and the Graphs. So from my side, I would say it's better to use Chrome and the Firefox instead of using Internet Explorer. But definitely, actually, all use a browser support, and it depends on the Java and plugin and so on. So this is my answer. Maybe Alexandria, you have some answers.
I agree with you. The most convenient browsers for me are firstly Chrome and then Mozilla, because they're just better to handle, and whatever problem I have, I can solve it more easily, especially when it comes to Java applications. What I found out was that it was much easier to fix the problem in Mozilla and then in Chrome, but I couldn't get it running in the Internet Explorer. And another thing that I saw in the Internet Explorer is that the user interface, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but the structure of the presentation of the ILS wasn't as neat as it was in Chrome and Mozilla. So I would go with either of the two.
Thank you. I hope the question is clear. And the second one is, can students try the iOS just with the standalone view link before the publication?
Absolutely. You can share the standalone view URL through an email with whoever you want. You can give it to anyone you want and try it out, and it's going to work exactly the same. What the publish button does is that it makes this secret URL available to everyone. So it's exactly the same thing. The difference is if you want to have your ILS present in GoLab or not, but the students can use it either way.
Well, so the last question from Daniela is that if an activity is published, is it possible to modify it after publication? So I guess this is if this inquiry learning space is published, whether it's possible to modify it. Alexandria.
Yes, absolutely. You can go on and continue editing your activity, and all the changes will appear automatically in the ILS. If you want to edit the information of the lab, so let's say I want to publish this lab right here. This ILS right here. If I click here to publish, it's going to ask me for some extra information. This is what we call metadata. It's data for the data. So it's going to ask you to add some information like, for example, a description or some keywords, stuff like that. So once it does that, let me... Okay, so once you click on publish, it will redirect you into the repository, and it's going to ask you to give this information. If for some reason you want to change this part, the information that you have given here for your activity, you're going to have to edit the publish. So in this case, you will have to click in this publish inquiry space again and go and edit the metadata that you have given, and in this way republish your activity. Any other questions?
Another last question from Tony Soto is about, is there any way to export the content of an activity, I mean this inquiry learning space, to be reused, for example, in a particular learning management systems, LMS?
You can select to download everything as a zip archive. There is this button right here that allows you to download your work and the entire content. When it comes to reusing in general, what you have to remember is that you have to remove all the materials that have been created from a past class in order to make it with a new class, so you won't mix up the content. In addition to that, if I am, let's say I select an activity that is not my own. So let's say I select star in a box. No, this is a lab, I'm sorry. Let's say I choose this islet here, who is created by German. It's not mine. If I click here to see the ILS, if I give this standalone link to my students, I will not have access to the teacher's view, and I will not have access to whatever they have created, because I'm only using that. So German, in this case, will take all the data. What you have to do in order to use an activity that was made by somebody else is that you have to copy this inquiry space in your own profile. So you will get another secret URL and use that. So you can later have access to the materials of the teacher and whatever the students have created. Okay?
Thank you. I think till now there are no other questions, so please continue with the next section. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see how you can go from a blueprint or a Word document or a PowerPoint document into into Grasp. Like I said before, what we usually do, the current practice, is that there is an editor which allows you to add videos, resources, whatever you want in this single editor and have it all in there. So this is not how Grasp works. Grasp works with widgets, with components. You have to add piece by piece whatever you want, and we do this in order to be able to monitor students' activity. So let's say we have this orientation phase here. I have some text, a video, some more text. So these are three components. The first component is this, which is some text. Then I have to add another different kind of resource, which is a video. And then I have to add something more. So how do I do that? In every section, there is a plus button here, which you can click. And you can decide what kind of widget, what you want to add. You can select to add a lab, you can select to add an application, and you can select to add a resource. Every single one of them comes with a little bar on the top that can allow you to add some small description. So in this case, I can very, very easily copy this text here to the description part of the video. I won't have to add an extra part for this text here. So I will choose add resource. I will say first video. I will give here the URL. This is why I keep them here as comments, like I told you before, so I can have easy access to them when I'm going from Blueprint to Grasp. So I paste here, and I add the resource. So now the video is added. I can switch between the different views depending on what interests me. So in this case, well, when you're working, the middle function is the most convenient one. So like I said before, each resource comes with a descriptive line on top. So I can add this little section, this sentence, I can copy paste it here. And I am finished. Another cool thing about Graph is that you don't have to save ever. There is no save and edit button. You can type right away, and whatever you type is automatically saved. So I added my first sentence. I added the video, and now I want to add some more text here. But if you can see down below, there's nothing I can do. I cannot type here. I cannot do anything. If I want to add extra text, I have to add an extra component. So in order to add text and only text, I go to add resource again. I put a name, so I will say text 2. And the secret in order to be able to add simple text is that you don't add anything to the resource URL. You leave that empty. So if you add a resource that only has a name and no URL, Grasp automatically creates a resource that is in the form of the name you gave .grasp, and it's a simple editor. Still, since this is a widget, it also has a description here which you can choose to use or not. So if I click on edit here, I can type whatever I want. You have to remember that Grasp, at least so far, is keeping style. So if you want to get rid of that, you might have to copy paste your text again. Before you copy paste here, you have to copy paste in a simple notepad. Especially if you're using a PowerPoint, you're going to have to copy paste the text into a simple notepad so you can get rid of the styling and then copy paste it here. So I have added my 2 lines, and I also have a link here. I copy the link, I go here, and I click on the link button, insert link, and it's done. So this simple editor that we have allows you to do different stuff. You can have simple formatting options here. You can have bullets, numbers. You can add a table, a hyperlink, and you can fix the alignment. And once you're finished, you click on view, and you're done. So my first phase is now finished, and I can use the standalone view to check what I've done so far. So this is what I did just now. And as you can see here, there's some text I didn't add. This is because in every phase there is always an introductory description here, which you can choose to keep, or you can just choose to get rid of it. So I now deleted it. I refresh, and now it's gone. So it's exactly, oops, I didn't. Sometimes if you don't see the changes that you have just done, you might have to clear your cache. So that's Shift and N5 in your keyboard. Why am I not doing this right? I will try it again. Am I not? I think I'm using. I think I need to clear my cache as well before moving on. So this is how you add a video or a text or whatever you need. Let's say I also wanted to add a nice picture under this text here. You can do that by the add button again and add resource and say upload file, or you can go into this view over here and just drag and drop whatever you want. So if I go to my file here and I drag and drop this picture, it will appear automatically. I think our technical people have done something with that because I cannot get rid of it UI. I'm not sure why. So this is the picture. Now let's say I like the picture, but I don't like where it is. I want to put it right here before the video and after the video and before the text. So I just drag and drop it there, and the change will change place in the ILS as well. So here it is now. I can do exactly the same thing with any other resource. I can, for example, add a PDF file. However, if I add it here, the PDF, I might not be very happy about it. So let's say I want to add an answer key, which is a PDF here. So if I add it like that, it will not look very nice, because it's going to be a very, very long text being displayed. So as you can see here, I have the PDF like that. So if you're not very happy about it and you want to add it as a hyperlink, like I did here, this is what you can do. You can delete that, or you can, since I have it already here, I can choose to click on move and move it somewhere else. Now, as we said before, the about space is hidden. Students cannot see it. So I will move the answer key to the about space. And if I now go to the about space, I'm going to see this file over here. Every file that I upload in Grasp has also, if I click this button here, has a raw URL. So what I can do is I can copy this link, go back to go back to the place I was, so in the introduction, and I can say give me a second because I think it froze. I can go and say I want another resource. I will say answer key. And I have now created another space here. I could have decided to add it right here if I wanted. I didn't really have to add another text, but I can do whatever I want. So I will click on edit now, and I say here is the answer key. Answer key. And I can hyperlink this word to the raw URL that Grasp has provided me with. So why did I just add an extra whole editor just for this simple sentence? I might have as well added it here. Of course I could, but there might be some cases that you want to separate your texts for any given reason. For example, maybe I'm not sure if I want to keep this here is the answer key. In this section, I might decide to move it on. I'm not sure exactly where I want it yet. So in this case, I keep it in a separate resource. So if I decide that, you know, I don't want to give it to them now, I want to give it to them to the conclusion, I can just move it easily without having to go back and edit the remaining text or do something like that. So if you are not sure where you want to keep certain components, you might want to keep them in different resources so you can move them around. And let's say that while I'm working, I decide that, you know what, I will not give them the answer key at all. I want only the teacher to find it. Then I will go and delete this. And now it's only present in the about space, which is hidden, and the teacher can find it here. And what's more about that is that, like we said, there is this raw URL. So what I can do to make it even easier for the teacher, let's say I want the teacher now to find the answer key into the investigation phase. What I can do is I can go here, which is the place that I keep the notes for the teacher, and say, here is the answer key. So now, if I go to the investigation phase, you can see that the student can only see the introductory text that was already there, just like here, and the teacher will see that plus this secret box here that allows him or her to see the link directly to the answer key. So you can either just throw everything in the about space and have the teacher go there to find everything, or you can even put them all there and then keep the links in the separate phases depending on what you want. Just like I added the resource that I already showed you, I can also decide to add an application. So let's say that in the investigation phase, I want to have a tool that calculates experimental errors. So there is an application for that in here. So I click on Select App, and the application is going to appear directly in my activity. So I can add resources or applications in the same fashion, and I can also add, of course, in the same way, labs from the GoLab repository. So let's say that I want this Craters lab here. I can click and add it here. And like we said before, from this thumbnail view here, I can reorganize everything and put them wherever I like. And one final thing, remember the secret space that we had created? Let's say I don't want to add another phase, but I want to add some monitoring facilities for the teacher. I can create I can create another phase. I can switch the name to, let's say, monitoring, and I can make sure that it is private, so only the teacher will be able to see it through Grasp and not the students. And now in here, I can go and add applications that monitor the students. As long as Angela is a member of my ALS, I can monitor my students. So I can add the statistics application. I can add the where is it? This online users visualization application, and I can also add the student time spent. So these three are monitoring applications. These are going to show me what students are doing in my activity. So from here, I will be able to see all the people that have logged in and what they have been doing. With my activity, I will be able to see during the activity which student is in what phase, so I can easily monitoring where everybody is doing, what the pace of the class is, or if somebody's just checking YouTube, for example, looking at cars or something. And I will also be able to see here how much time each of my students has spent in every single phase. So these are the monitoring tools that you have inside GRASP to monitor your students. Any questions?
I think the questions are still related to the export from the iOS to Moodle from GoLab learning material. So I think Tony and Daniela are interested in whether there's any possible to export into the Powerful I activities within Moodle.
So far, we have been focusing on using our own authoring facilities and viewing facilities because GoLab is an infrastructure that can run by itself. So personally, I haven't looked into how you can incorporate that into MOOC, but I suppose it's since you can download everything into Moodle, you'll be able to. You can download everything through a zip file. You can easily move them to Moodle, but I'm pretty sure that if you do that, you will not be able to have access to the vault space, so you will not be able to get the materials that the students created during the activity, and you will also not have access to the monitoring tools that are here.
I have a small comment as well, and actually you can use this. You can embed the your inquiry learning space into Moodle by some iframe. So you can have the URL and share that in an iframe. So in your Moodle to your students, you can see exactly the learning space. Also, as Eleftheria said, we support other activity, other functionality like this monitoring. And for these monitoring issues, we are not able to support it in the Moodle. So definitely, GRASP doesn't support SCORM and IMS, this kind of learning learning metadata standards. But it is more in the flexible XML format export with these widgets and different components. So Eleftheria, that's just my 5 cents.
Okay, thank you, Yue. Just to put a secondary small note here, GoLab is a 4 years project. We are now at the beginning of the 3rd year, so we're literally halfway through. So your opinion is very important to us. We are still developing applications, supportive applications for the students. We're still producing monitoring applications for the teachers. We're still doing fine-tuning into our tools. So whatever ideas, suggestions, or requests you have, you can email them to them and we can have a look at what we can do. This is a tool that is still developing, and your voice has power. Whatever you ask us, we will take it into consideration and try to build on it. To move on to the last part of the presentation that I have prepared for you is the actual entry of the contest. So whatever you have decided to do, either use an ILS as is, or to adapt an existing, or to create your own, the objective is still the same. The objective of the contest is to show us how you used GoLab in your classroom. So in order to create an effective and successful entry, you need to take into consideration what are the main challenges here. If you have a look at the evaluation criteria, you will also see this. So the main challenge is What was the impact of the activity for your students? What was the impact it had on them? Did it help them achieve their goals more easily than it would have in another environment? Did it help increase any competence skills? Did they like it? Was it interesting for them? Did it help them get a better understanding of science or think more positively towards science? You need to keep in mind that these are the questions that are the main challenges, and these are the things you would like to promote through your entry. So the entry is not going to be an activity. You don't have to make an activity. You have to show how you used an activity inside the classroom. So while preparing your entry, you need to keep in mind these main challenges. How can you measure things like that? You can come up with questionnaires to give to your students before and after the activity to see whether they have what they have learned. You can take feedback from the supportive applications that I showed you. You can record the reactions of your students. You can keep some interesting quotes, for example. You can take pictures. You can take videos. You can ask them to make something creative for the discussion phase to present their work. So it is really up to you to decide how you will present what you did. You can do a report, you can do a PowerPoint presentation, you can do a video, you can do whatever you want. You will see all the different options that you have in the website here. So if you go on how to build an entry, you can see what you're asked to do. Just keep in mind that it's the result of the activity that is the objective of the contest and not the activity itself. So you don't have to create something from scratch. If you want, you can do it, of course, you get extra points for that, but it's not a prerequisite. You can use an existing activity from GoLabs as is. The only thing that you have to keep in mind in order to have a valid entry is that you have to provide us with the link of the activity. So this link, oops, I'm sorry, this link right here, whatever activity you choose, sorry, but I'm not using a mouse. So whatever activity you choose from this list, you have to provide us with the link of the activity. So this link over here, so we know which activity you have used. If you adapted an existing activity, you have to have it published and provide us the respective URL again, or if you create your own one, still it has to be again published, and you have to provide us the ILS, the link of the ILS that you used. Other than that, you can get some ideas here on how to create your activity. You can do a PowerPoint, a video, as I said, a report, or a poster. Try to make it look nice, try to make it to look interesting and not boring, and as effective as possible. Try to show what was the added value of the activity you did and the impact it had on your students. This is what the contest is all about. It's about implementing activities. It's not about creating activities to begin with. It's more about implementing them inside the classroom. So any other final questions?
Yes, we got some questions, and first is as Tony has commented, and we really appreciate actually very much that your active participation with questions, and it makes our session more interesting. So it's iframe is a way to sort it out, but the question is what will happen when the project finish. Anyway, the analysis creative thing. Yes, we have this is as a project, but I think after it's finished, and we were still thinking of we will still work on the repository and for the further maintenance. So it will be really pity we just close the usage of the platform after the project finish. So maybe Alexandria has also answers.
Like I said, your voice is strong, and we are very eager to hear it. So whatever ideas you have, whatever suggestions, please email them to us. Rob, who is here as well, is in fact responsible for gathering the feedback from teachers and their ideas. He's the one who is the link, let's say, between the teachers and the technical team. So your voice has power. Whatever you send us, we will definitely look into and try to make it happen for you.
And also the question comes from Daniela, that can we use just a link to put in Moodle? Yes, sure. As I said, you can just put the link. It's a resource, whether the sharing link, and you can put it and share it in your Moodle at any time. And Lydia asked about, do we have tutorial? And as I said, you can come to the website, and also I put it in the link of this event. I will post it in the chat forum again. So Eleftheria?
Yes, if you go to GoLabs, on the top right corner, there is a little tab called Tutorials. If you click there, you will find all the tutorials of GoLab. And I'm hoping next week you will also be provided with a PDF guide as to how to use Grasp and about the different inquiry cycle approaches that we are using. So in case you decide to create your own ILS, you will have further assistance in the form of a PDF guide next week. And of course, like I said before, our doors are open. Whatever you want to ask, send us an email and we will make sure that you get all the help that you need.
So there's no other questions, so Eleftheria.
Okay, so we can close the session. If you come up with questions afterwards that you would like to ask, you may also add them as comments in the YouTube page of the video, and we will make sure that we answer them all. So thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you very much for your time, and I really hope to see you all in sunny and warm Athens in July, participating into our summer school. So I wish the best of luck to all of you. Goodbye from me.
Wait, I think we get another question. It's about, can you write down the name of who is responsible for the contact between teachers and the teacher technical team? Thank you. It's from Claudia. And yeah, I think there's also people asking for the link. I think Eleftheria will send an email out after this session, like yesterday you already have received, and for more information.
Yeah, sure. We can communicate the email of the University of Leicester team, who is responsible for this contact. We also have a quite structured procedure to receive teachers' notes. We have questionnaires. We also have a core group that some teachers are participating. So I suppose the best way to go is for Rob to send an email with the many different ways that you can record your ideas and give them back to you. So we will send you all the necessary information tomorrow.
So thank you all, and bye-bye from my side.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye from me.